Hey guys, welcome back to Legal Marketing Live. My name is Daniel Decker. I'm a partner here at Spotlight Branding. Today I'm joined by Cody Lanham, one of our solutions managers, and we are glad to have you guys with us. We have an exciting topic today. We're going to talk about kind of how your internet marketing presence serves as a foundation that actually makes all of your marketing work better. I think one of the frustrations that I have and that I've seen talking to lawyers and just seeing how internet marketing for lawyers works is that lots of times there's this kind of artificial separation. A lot of lawyers think of internet marketing as like its own thing, completely separate from everything else that they're doing. And I think our philosophy is that it's actually integrated and that your internet presence should serve to make all of your marketing work better. And I think when you understand that process and how that relationship should work, it kind of sets the table and makes everything work better. Before we dive into the details though, Cody, I'm really glad you're here with us today. Tell us a little bit about what you do here at Spotlight Branding.
Sure. So my job at Spotlight Branding as a solutions manager is to talk to attorneys, and answer a lot of questions they have about how we can help them grow their firm. My job is more about talking to them about strategy and how our strategy will help them achieve what they're looking to achieve.
Yeah, awesome. And kind of our philosophy here at Spotlight Branding, which Cody, you do a great job with, is that we don't try to force our solutions onto every lawyer. We understand that different lawyers have different needs, so our approach has always just been kind of, we'll lay out what we can do for you, we'll lay out our philosophy and our approach to growing your law firm, and if it's a good fit, it's a good fit. And so Cody doesn't have to do any of that high pressure selling because that's not what we're about here.
Absolutely.
So let's dive in, man. So what are your thoughts on kind of what I started with? Just the idea that internet marketing is not in a silo off by itself, but it's actually integrated with all of the marketing that lawyers are out there doing.
Sure. I always stress to potential clients when I'm on the phone with them that how they show up in the real world is how they should show up online. So how you want people to perceive you when you first meet somebody, your online presence should reflect that as well. And as Danny pointed out, that those two things are very relevant and one and the same. Right.
So it's not that there is like this, like if you're the lawyer, Cody, it's not that there's Cody's like real world persona,
right,
and then there's completely isolated Cody's online persona. No, you need to merge them. It should
Absolutely.
be one and the same. I think one of the best examples I have on this one is networking, right? So a lot of you guys spend a good amount of time networking, whether it's BNI groups or your bar chapters or whatever it may be. You spend a lot of time networking. You meet a lot of people, but let me back up a little bit. The way to make that networking work best is when you support it with a strong online marketing presence. So Cody, give us some examples there. How can your online presence kind of support that networking?
I always like to use the the business card example. You probably wouldn't go to a networking event and not hand out a business card, and so that business card really represents you. But when you hand that business card out, it has your information on it. The first thing people are going to do, Danny, is probably look you up online, and ultimately, they should get that same warm, fuzzy feeling that they got, or that professional feel that they got from you as soon as they find you online.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's like, it's great if you make a good first impression. It's great if they're impressed by you. But then what happens when they hop on your website and it doesn't at all tell the same story as what they felt when they met you in person? Sure. There's a big gap, and all of a sudden that trust is lost, and in some cases the relationship is lost. So I would say, to your point, that your website and your social media and whatever else you're handing out on your business card should back you up. It's almost like it's your wingman. It's like you make contact in person, but then when they go check you out online, if it doesn't match and if it doesn't reflect you in the same positive light, all of a sudden you've got a problem there. Yeah. Another big one I'd add to that is the email newsletter concept, right? It's like you go out, you get all of these business cards, then what are you going to do with them? And so often what happens is they gather dust in a drawer in your desk, right? But if you have some sort of system where after you get back from your networking event, you hand the stack of cards to your secretary,
right,
and have her plug them into your email distribution list. Now, without you doing anything else, they're hearing from you once a month, twice a month, once a week, whatever it may be.
Yeah, Danny, I actually heard from an attorney one time said that there's two things an attorney hates to hear the most. I didn't know you do that, and I forgot you did that. And so a monthly newsletter absolutely helps you keep in touch with these people and just continues to remind them who you are, what you do, and how to get in touch with you, more importantly.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I've heard that frustration too. People are like, "Oh, I have a lot of clients in my, that I help them through their divorce, but they don't know that I can also handle adoption or estate planning or whatever else it may be." And that's a common story, and that basically equals missed business, right? Because these are people that worked with you and trust you, but then just don't know that you can help them.
Yeah.
And so a newsletter is great because, yeah, maybe they engaged you for this one practice area, but your newsletter now informs them of everything else you do. I think that's a great point.
Absolutely, and I'd like to add one more point. A statistic that we like to live by here at Spotlight Branding is that 83% of satisfied clients are willing to refer a product or service, but only a third actually do. What that says to me is that you're missing out and leaving a lot of business on the table, and just by simply keeping in touch with those people, it increases obviously referral rates, but qualified leads, and that's the best lead.
Yeah. No, I think that stat that you just shared is huge. I think a lot of lawyers out there rely primarily on referrals, and therefore they kind of think, well, I've got the referrals covered, and I need some new other sources of business. Well, what if we told you that you're only getting about 1/3 of the referrals that you should be getting? Imagine, if you could multiply all your revenue that comes in via referral, multiply it by 3.
Yeah.
What's that going to do to your bottom line?
Big number.
Right? That's pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So, no, I think that's a great point. And I think some of these things that we're talking about, especially in newsletter, are a great way to kind of increase those referrals. What else do we got on that? Social media is a good way to do that?
Yeah, social media. I think a lot of people underestimate the power of social media. The fact is, you can reach thousands of people and just stay top of mind of them. You never know where a referral source is going to come from. And so we always like to say that social media isn't a place for the hard sell. It's actually a place to build a community and just continue to remind people what you do and how they can reach you, but also add value to their life, because the fact is people are probably looking for you in the last minute because they've run into a problem and they have that problem right then and there and they need answers. And so if you can continue to provide them with educational content, valuable content, they're going to call you at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right about that. I think the best way to use social media is as you said, not as a hard sell, but as a way to stay connected, and you do that by providing value, whether that's sharing your own blog entries or sharing your own videos or sharing articles that were written by third-party sources, or whether it's telling a joke or whatever the case may be, providing value, giving them a reason to continue to pay attention, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's what it's all about. They have to have a reason to keep paying attention, and then sooner or later, either they're going to have a need and they're going to call you, or someone they know is going to have a need and they're going to recommend you. It's all about that top of mind awareness, which you create if you give people a reason to keep paying attention to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So let's talk a little bit about specifically like what your internet marketing presence should do to kind of support you, right? Okay. So we're talking about how whether you're out networking, whether it's reaching your past clients and increasing referrals, that your internet presence needs to be supporting you. So let's dive into some specifics. And one of the first ones that come to mind for me, and I'd like to hear what you think about this, Cody, is just the idea that your internet presence needs to build trust. It needs to create trust. It needs to position you as a trusted, credible expert in what you do. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, well, and not just an expert, because let's face it, we have, 1.4 million attorneys in the United States. You're all experts. And so really, you want your internet foundation to not only place you as an expert, but you want to be an authority as well. And the only way you can be an authority is to put out content, authoritative content, such as blog posts and video marketing. It's a great way to establish that trust and credibility.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about blogging for a second, because I think that's a great point. And there are a lot of different ways you can approach blogging, but to your point, Cody, if you make it a point to, on a monthly basis, or even better on a weekly basis or a few times a month, to write a blog entry that is addressing common questions, concerns, challenges that your clients are facing, that's a huge, huge benefit, right? So think about blog entries on topics like, if you're a DUI attorney, it's, well, what happens if I'm convicted?
Right.
How do I get my license back? Do I have to take a breathalyzer test? Et cetera, et cetera. Just think about those kind of common questions, concerns that you hear all the time, maybe from your clients or from people that you have consultations with, and just make a point of writing a blog entry on those topics. Again, if you can do it on a weekly basis, fantastic, but even if it's just once a month, you get that content out there, and to Cody's point, then you are seen as a credible expert, right? You are seen as somebody that knows what you're doing, that understands the concerns that prospective clients have, and you have the information that they need, and your blog kind of proves that.
Sure.
Talk about, you mentioned video too. What do you suggest that lawyers do with video?
Yeah, so what we like to do at Spotlight Branding are video FAQs, and so they should be what we try to go for or is an organic 30 to 60 second Q&A. So when a potential client has found you online, they're going to go to your website, they're looking for information. Maybe they're in panic mode. They really need to find out whether or not you're the right attorney. And so if they can watch a 30 to 60 second video, if they can see your face, hear your voice, that's instant credibility. And so that's going to urge them to pick the phone up and call you a lot quicker.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think video is such a great tool because, kind of to your point, a lot of people are scared when it comes time to hire an attorney, right?
Yeah.
They're intimidated, they're worried about the cost, whatever the case may be, there's a lot of uncertainty, and video gives them the opportunity to see you, hear you, and it establishes some comfort and builds some rapport, so you're not just some anonymous, like, intimidating lawyer, but no, you're somebody that they almost feel like they've had a conversation with.
Yeah.
And I love FAQ videos for that purpose, because it really feels conversational. So, all right, so we've talked a bit about kind of some specifics about what your internet presence should do. I think the overriding point that I hope you guys can walk away with is that your internet marketing doesn't exist in a silo off by itself. It's not an isolated, separate, like, part of your marketing. It should support everything you do. Literally, if you're running ads on the radio, well, you should be driving people somewhere, and it's probably going to be your website. So it's great that you're running ads on the radio, but how's your website? Is it supporting what you're saying on the radio? Is it positioning you as approachable, trustworthy, credible, everything you just ticked off there? SEO is another one, right? If it's important to you that you're showing up on the first page of Google, okay, great. What happens when people click on that link and land on your website? Are they seeing good content? Are they seeing credibility? Are they inspired to trust you and ultimately pick up the phone and call you? So referrals we just talked about. We've talked about networking. All of that stuff, everything that you're doing from a marketing standpoint is going to work better when you have an internet foundation in place that positions you as a credible, trustworthy expert.
Yeah. And Danny, the only thing that I would add to this is online marketing is about showing up in as many places as possible. Literally multiplying yourself so you can represent yourself in many different places at once. And if you can achieve that, the return on your investment is much greater.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I've worked in local politics here, and one of the like key things that we focus on is it takes typically 3 to 4 touch points with a voter before they'll even consider voting for you. And I've seen similar stats, not necessarily specific to legal marketing, but marketing in general, where it typically takes 5 to 6 touch points with a customer before they're ready to consider hiring you.
Sure.
And so if your touch point happens face to face, great. Well, but then it's a lot easier to make the second, third, fourth, and fifth one happen if you've got a social media presence and if you've got a blog and if you've got emails going out. Because I think you're exactly right. I think it's not just about one interaction with somebody. It has to happen over and over. And the internet is just a much more efficient way to do that than, showing up at these events once a month and hoping that you do it enough that finally you sort of build credibility. So
exactly.
Great points there. I guess one other practical takeaway I'll give you guys before we wrap up here is make sure that your staff know your website URL, know where you're active on social media. Believe it or not, I've seen studies that I can't remember the percentage, but it's like a shockingly high percentage of law firm staff members don't know what their website URL is. And so they don't know how to drive people there. Everyone that calls your firm, you should pretty much be directing them to your website at some point. Whether it's, hey, if you want to learn more about us, maybe it's you go here to schedule a consultation, whatever. Everybody who works at your office needs to know your URL. They need to drive people there. They need to know if you're active on Facebook.
Yeah.
Just look for ways to integrate, to like break that silo and integrate it so that everybody you're meeting in the real world is also connecting with you online, right? Your website URL, your Twitter handle, your Facebook page, that should probably all be on your business card.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other thoughts here before we wrap up?
No thoughts. But I have been on the phone with attorneys who, principals or managing partners, and they've not known their own URL.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can bet that when they talk to people, they're not driving them to their website. And
Right.
again, because your website should serve as backup for you, right? It should reinforce and just position you in that great light, and so you should be using it. And so that would be my big practical takeaway: is look for ways to break that silo and integrate your online foundation into all of your marketing and all your business development.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Hey Jana, did we have a link that we were going to? What was it again? I totally forgot.
We have a free special report on this.
That's what it is. We're giving away a free report on how your internet foundation can make all of your marketing work better. It can increase the ROI on all of your marketing. So we're going to drop that link in the comments shortly, and I encourage you guys to check it out, download that report, and I think you'll find some practical information there as well. All right, Cody, thanks a ton for joining us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next week back here on Legal Marketing Live.